Hi everybody, this is Sister McConkey and I wanted to give you a few tips for week 5 on your motion assignment. I'm really excited to talk to you about this one because motion is kind of my thing. I love doing a lot of photos that have to do with motion. So first of all, let's kind of talk about the progression of how you can do things this week. First of all, I would start with the Learn from the Pros, and you have a list of photographers here. These are the list of the photographers for the motion assignment. So we're going to pick 2 from the freeze motion list and 2 from the blurred motion list. And I just want to go over a couple of those with you just to give you some examples. The first one I want to talk about is from the freeze motion, and that is Edward Muybridge. And he did these stop motion images of a horse. Leland Stanford, he made his money in the railroad. He'd made a bet with somebody that when a horse was running, all 4 of its hoofs were off the ground at one time. So he hired Muybridge to take images to prove this so he could win this bet. And at first Muybridge's shutter speeds on his camera were too slow, so he had to design a camera that could have a much faster shutter speed, and he actually used like 24 cameras, I believe, to capture these images. But you can see these are really nice frozen images of the horse in motion. This next one, he's one of my very favorite photographers, is Henri Cartier-Bresson. He's a street photographer and a documentary photographer, and his images are just absolutely amazing. They're very artistic. He captures what we call the decisive moment. He's actually the photographer who coined that phrase, meaning that, you know, just that instant in time to snap the shutter to get just the perfect capture. So this is an image he took of stop motion of some people dancing at a refugee camp. So you can see that they're dancing, but that motion is stopped and frozen in time. Here's another Henri Cartier-Bresson image. This one is of children playing on the streets, and you can see how artistic this is, not just capturing the stop motion, but he's got that one-point perspective and the lovely leading lines and just an amazing composition and nice tonal range. And one more Henri Cartier-Bresson just because. This is one taken during the war, and you can just see he's caught that woman's the motion in her face there. It's quite amazing. Okay, so on to the blurred motion photographers. One of those is Win Bullock. If you just Google Win Bullock, you're going to come up with probably a lot of his black and white images, and he did those earlier in his career, and he has some amazing black and white images. But he's also done a bunch of these color images in the later part of his career where he's capturing the motion of light. And then we have Michael Kenna, and he does these amazing long exposures where he captures, like in these images here, he's capturing the steam in the sky. So he was doing some environmental type images with these. He also does a lot of like the night skies with the long exposures capturing the star trails, which I know is a very popular thing to do right now. Anyway, those are just some ideas on the Learn from the Pros and things you can learn from those photographers there. The next thing we're going to do this week is you're going to do another replicate assignment. So last week you had your replicate or recreate assignment from the depth of field. This week we have one for motion. So you're going to look at these examples that they've given us, and you're going to pick one from each of these categories, and you're going to try and recreate the type of motion that is in each of these images. So I mean, we have boxers here. I mean, this could be dancers, you know, it could be any number of different type of activities that you're going to capture the blurred motion there. Capturing water is actually a really popular thing to do. If you're going to do a capture of water, you really need to have a tripod or a rock or something that you can set your camera on and steady it, because you're going to want the landscape to be tightly focused and just have the water blurred. And that can be a really beautiful effect, smoothing out the water in those blurred image captures. So here's some examples of frozen motion. So again, it could be, you know, a car, a motorcycle, somebody jumping. It's always a real fun one. Runners, you know, this guy's flying a kite here. So you're just going to copy or recreate, you know, the type of motion that's going on for freeze motion and for a blurred motion image, and you're going to submit those. And that is a completely separate assignment from your 5 images that you're going to post to the peer review. So your peer review images need to be of different subject and different images, completely different images. All right, so I kind of want to show you a few of the images that I take. I like to capture, like I said, the motion images, and some of the things I do are a little bit different than what you're going to see on Learn from the Pros or even in the modules from Professor Clark. So one of the things I do is I like to do close-up images of light and how it travels through glass and other objects that are reflective. And so in this image here, you can see I'm capturing that motion of the light. Another thing I like to do is I like to do running photos. So this first image here is a stop motion photo. This is one of my cross-country girls, and she's running off into the sunset. And you can see her hair is frozen. Her movements are frozen there. The second image here is one taken of my husband, and he's running through the tunnels, out of the sun tunnels. And this is a blurred motion. You know, you can't really see, him in focus, but you know that he's running. So we've captured his motion there. And this one I didn't have a tripod for, and so I actually rolled down the window on the car and studied my camera on the car to use that as kind of a mock tripod. And then this final one here, this is one of my husband running through Goblin Valley. See, I make him model for me. Anyway, I had my tripod so that I could have a really slow shutter speed and get the cool hoodoos in the sky that was going on there out at Goblin Valley in tight focus, but still capture his motion. Another way you could do your images is to do them handheld and pan, which means that you're going to hold your camera and move your body and your camera with the motion. So if you had somebody like running, you would follow them as they ran with your camera. The same thing you would do with the car to capture the movement of a car. Another really fun thing you might do is capture the lights on a car in the evening. Anyway, I hope this gives you some ideas. I'm really excited to see your work. I think motion images are a lot of fun to capture. They do take quite a bit of extra time to really get something that's more than just capturing motion, to get something that's artistic and visually interesting. So you're going to want to allow yourself a little extra time this week on the captures. Good luck, and I'm really excited to see your photos.